Every time I sit in a barber's chair, the scent of tonic, the snip of scissors, the low hum of the clippers, it all brings him back. Not a nightmare, not anymore, just a memory, a constant companion, a quiet echo of a night in Vietnam when I, a young Marine, shot the camp barber. That's the story I want to tell you. The moment my boots hit the soil of Vietnam, I expected cheers. I truly did. I had this picture in my head, vivid as the black and white newsreels from Walter Cronkite's 20th Century Show, where American GIs rolled into French villages and the people, they'd come out cheering, showering them with wine and flowers and kisses. That was my blueprint. That was what I expected. I was a Marine, a liberator, bringing freedom to a faraway land. So, when a corporal from my assigned battalion picked me up in a Jeep at Da Nang, and we started that 20-mile drive to our compound, I was looking out, eagerly. I imagined the crowds, the smiles, the gratitude, but there was nothing, just dusty roads, small, quiet villages, and faces that, when they looked at us at all, held a kind of distant, unreadable gaze. No waves, no flowers, no cheers. It was like I was invisible, like I didn't exist. That was the first prick in my bubble of idealism, a small, perplexing sting. And then there were the smells. Oh, the smells. Not the clean, crisp air of home. This was thick, humid, a cloying mix of cooking fires, damp earth, something vaguely sweet and something else, something acrid and unfamiliar that seemed to cling to everything. It hurt my nose. It was disturbing. They lived in little straw huts with animals wandering freely in their yards. They weren't like us. My naive expectations, shaped by Hollywood and propaganda, were already starting to unravel. I remember seeing a small boy, no older than 5, clutching a worn wooden bird, his eyes wide as our Jeep passed. I instinctively reached for a piece of candy, a small, innocent gesture. But his mother, her face a mask of fear, quickly pulled him back, her eyes narrowing at me. It was a small, sharp lesson. The welcome I expected was a ghost. The incident with the barber, though, that was a different kind of lesson. It happened a few months in, after the initial shock had worn off, replaced by the dull ache of routine and the constant hum of vigilance. We were stationed near Da Nang, and the Viet Cong were always trying to infiltrate our camp, planting mines, harassing us. It was a serious problem, a constant low-level threat that kept you on edge even when things was quiet. One night, I was on sentry duty. It was a moonless night, thick with the jungle's breath. The air was heavy, humid, and the sounds of the night insects were almost deafening. Every rustle of leaves, every distant chirp made your heart jump. My rifle felt heavy in my hands, a cold, familiar weight. I was scanning the perimeter, my eyes straining against the darkness when I saw it. A shadow, moving low, hugging the ground, slipping through the wire. My training kicked in, adrenaline surged, a cold rush through my veins. VC. It had to be. They were always trying to sneak in. I raised my rifle, my finger finding the trigger. My heart pounded against my ribs. I shouted a challenge, a guttural warning into the night. The shadow froze for a second, then bolted, scrambling away. No hesitation. Not then. Not in that moment. It was instinct, drilled into me. Threat. Engage. I fired. One shot, maybe two. The figure crumpled. The silence that followed was absolute, broken only by my own ragged breathing and the distant rhythmic chirping of the crickets. My ears rang. My hands trembled. I had done my job. I had stopped the threat. The patrol came quickly, drawn by the shot. Flashlights cut through the darkness, illuminating the scene. And then the light fell on the figure. It wasn't a soldier in black pajamas. It wasn't a hardened Viet Cong fighter. It was the camp barber. His name was Old Man Tran, or at least that's what we called him. He was a local guy, probably in his late 50s or early 60s, with a kind, wrinkled face and hands that could wield a razor with surprising precision. He cut hair for all the Marines in the camp. He was popular, well-liked. He'd hum old Vietnamese folk songs while he worked, and sometimes he'd bring us little cups of sweet, dark coffee. He was a familiar, almost comforting presence in the chaos. And now he was dead, lying there on the damp earth, a small dark stain spreading on his simple clothes. My mind raced, trying to process it. The barber? Why was he sneaking in? Was he actually VC? Was he planting something? Was he just trying to get back to his hut after a late night, taking a shortcut? There was no way to know. He was dead now. The answers were buried with him, lost in the murky ambiguity of war. The metallic tang in my mouth intensified, not from fear now, but from something else, something bitter and acrid. Guilt, maybe, or just profound confusion. After that night, I stopped getting haircuts. It seemed wrong. Every time I thought about sitting in that chair, about the buzzing clippers, I saw Old Man Tran's face, not as he was when he cut my hair, but as he was that night lying on the ground. So I just let my hair grow. It wasn't a conscious protest, not really. It was just, I couldn't. A month passed, then two. My hair got shaggy, long by Marine Corps standards. I probably looked like a wild man. One sweltering afternoon out on the compound, a colonel spotted me. He was a by-the-book kind of guy, always immaculate, even in the jungle heat. He stopped dead in his tracks, his eyes narrowing. "Marine!" he barked, his voice cutting through the humid air. "What in the hell is that on your head? Why haven't you gotten a haircut?" My stomach clenched. I snapped to attention, my gaze fixed on a point just past his shoulder. "Sir," I replied, my voice flat, devoid of emotion. "Sir, I shot the barber." The colonel blinked. His face, usually stern, softened for a split second, a flicker of something unreadable in his eyes. He didn't say another word. He just stared at me for a moment, then turned and walked away. No reprimand, no further questions, just that silence. I told that story many times over the years, always with a laugh. A hearty laugh, you know, but it was the kind of funny but not really funny laugh. The kind where you're trying to make light of something that's actually heavy as lead. You laugh, but your eyes aren't really smiling. It was my way of coping, of packaging a moment of profound absurdity and tragedy into something digestible, something I could share without falling apart. It was a shield, a performance, a way to say, look how crazy it was, without ever having to say, look how much it broke me. John, my friend, he used to listen to me tell that story. He's gone now, but he was one of the few who really got it. He was the one who pointed out something I'd never quite articulated to myself. I told him that story 30 years after the war had ended, and I remember I just sort of dropped that little comment in at the end, like it didn't mean much. I think about that guy whenever I get a haircut, but it made a big impact on John. He looked at me, his eyes thoughtful. "You know," he said, "think about how many haircuts you've gotten in the past 30 years. Every time you sit in that barber's chair, you think about a man you killed. And he was right, every single time. The scent of barbershop tonic, the snip of the scissors, the drone of the electric clippers, they all bring him back. Old Man Tran, his kind wrinkled face, the wooden bird, the silence of that night. It's not a nightmare, not anymore. It's just a memory, a constant companion, a quiet echo. That's war, you see. It's not all the big, terrible stuff they show in the movies. It's not just the explosions and the firefights. It's living the rest of your life not being able to do something simple like get a haircut or brush your teeth or eat a hamburger without being haunted by a memory. It's the way the war seeps into the mundane, into the everyday, and changes it forever. It's the silent battle you fight long after the last shot is fired, the one that never makes the newsreels. It's the ghost in the barber's chair waiting for you every time. I'm an old man now. The hair that gets cut is mostly gray. But the memory, it's still as clear as that moonless night. I've learned to live with it. It's part of me now, a quiet hum beneath the surface of my life. It's a reminder of the cost, not just of war, but of the illusions we carry into it. And maybe by telling it, just maybe, that echo can find a different kind of silence.